Hello world, I'm Dani and welcome to my YouTube channel where I help people transition through the awakening process. So, if you've been checking out the channel, you have realized that I started out with 7 habits to purge towards curing what ails you. And our second habit to purge towards curing what ails you is materialism. And so today we're going to dive our roots a little deeper. If you haven't seen the original video, go check it out and then come back and dive a little bit deeper with us. So, for you all that have been following along on Instagram at It Will Cure What Ails You, you've been noticing and answering polls for me during my story feed, and that helps me kind of navigate where my listeners and viewers are at in the awakening process. And this will not be for everyone. So, in my early journey, I didn't really realize that I was living a materialistic lifestyle. I just thought I was living a normal life until one day I woke up and literally felt suffocated by the things in my home and felt like a prisoner in my own home. So, attachment is the first reason that we're going to want to let go of materialism. So we have a habit of hoarding and holding on to things. You all have seen the show Hoarders. Hopefully it's not that extreme. But what this means is that we're placing our self-worth and value into items that we have. That might be like someone places that they are an awesome and amazing and rich person because they drive a really fancy car. Or maybe you think because you have a new outfit for every day of the week for the next year that you must be a really awesome person. And I'm not saying that these people aren't awesome by any means, but what I'm saying is that we're placing our self-value into these items. I used to have the hardest time letting go of items, and one example, ladies, that you all are going to know about is if you fluctuate weight a lot, then we have the habit of, well, I didn't wear this 6 months ago when it was in season, but I can't fit into it, but 2 years from now I hope that I can be back down to my high school weight or whatever. And so you hold on to these items instead of just letting them go. And then before you know it, you have a wardrobe that is overflowing and in 4 or 5 closets. No joke. When I had my home after LuLaRoe, you all have hopefully heard about my LuLaRoe journey. If not, go check that one out. It's in a video. I had 4 closets and like 2 wardrobes or dressers full of clothes. Like, it's insane. And then I still had stuff packed in Tupperwares that were, stuff that I wasn't going to fit into anymore, or I like that I may hang on to it, but you never wear it. Get rid of it. Let it go. So anyway, when we can start this physical purge, then we start realizing that we're not attaching ourselves, we're not putting our self-value into the things that we have, and that's going to help you start shedding your ego as well, which we'll dig into deeper later. So attachment also is kind of like filling a void. I have lost a lot of people in my life, and I've seen family members go through it. Hopefully the majority of you all have not had to go through that. But I asked you some questions in the story feed about, attaching things or having issues of letting go loved ones, items. And so for those of you that answered no, I'm glad that that has not been an issue for you. For those of you that answered yes, just know that we're doing the same thing. We're holding on to these items that we don't really need, just because it makes us feel like these people are still around us. And you don't have to have these items in order for those people to still be with you, and to still remember them and know that they're there. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily a family heirloom, because there are things that you want to hold on to, but I'm talking about the stuff typically you would yard sale or donate. So, unless you can find cool ways to hang on to them. Like, there's no reason, if you're not going to use great-grandma's china and it's just going to be in the cabinet, and, one day your great-great-grandchildren are just going to, yard sell it, don't hold on to it. Maybe you can change it into something new. Something I like doing are these spoon rings. Everybody has, a family silver collection sitting around that's just collecting dust, and no one even uses the utensils. So, if you're interested in a spoon ring, message me. We'll work it out. Okay. Another reason to let go of materialism and start living a minimalistic lifestyle is cleansing your space. I asked some of you all during the story feed on Instagram if you have anxiety, if you feel like you can't keep up with cleaning your daily duties, where you feel like that you're having to clean your house all the time just to catch up. Like, that's number one on your to-do list, is to clean your house. And so instead of going out and having fun, you're doing that. If you start purging, then you are going to cleanse your space. And for those going through the awakening process, we are typically very anxious. There's a high energy, we're sensitive to things, and items hold space. They are made up of atoms and electrons, and they give off energy. So the more that you have in your physical space, the more that you're picking up and having to kind of like navigate through. So if you can start purging and cleanse your space, some of you all will literally feel the weight coming off of your shoulders, or like the pressure in the room release. I know that I did. Less clutter means more time for living. Like I said on Instagram, a lot of you all answered yes, that you would love to have more time. You would love to not have to clean your house daily. And if you begin this purge process, you're going to be doing that for a while. It kind of becomes addicting. But eventually you'll get down to what you really need. And that's kind of what minimalism is about. You don't have to go to an extreme. It's more about what you really need to get by, and everybody is individualized, so that means your needs are going to be specific. But you don't need 20 place sets if typically you only serve 4 people. Get rid of them. Or you don't need 4 closets of clothes. Get rid of it. And when you start getting rid of that, you'll be able to get rid of furniture, and the list goes on. You kind of end up going in rounds, and every time you make a little round, you've become detached to something more, or it layers on top of each other. And so with that, you're not going to have things that are collecting dust. You're not going to have spots for dust and dirt to collect, for dog hair if you're a pet owner, that's a mess for that to collect. And your space will feel more serene and more light in general, because you have this cleansed space. So you will not find yourself feeling every single day like you are having to clean so that you can get to the next step. And if you're children, or if you have children, limit them as to what kind of toys they can have. Start making them purge. I like to say that every time you come into or bring something into the house, that you need to be taking something out of the house. So if you bring 2 new shirts in, 2 old shirts have to go out, and etc. And if you can start living like that, then it will become easier. Another thing is, a lot of the times if our house is a wreck, but we still want to go have fun, we have a hard time, or just relax, you have a hard time doing so. Your mindset's really on like, that needs to get done in order for everything else to happen for me. And so this will give you the ability to have more freedom and not worry about stuff, because I don't really necessarily want, like, she was an awesome housekeeper, her house was perfect every day written on my tombstone. Like, there's other things in life that I want to go do. Okay, so more money. A lot of you all asked on the Instagram story if you went shopping, like, pretty much every day, or if you found yourself making purchases that were non-grocery more than twice a week, or more than once a week. And a lot of you all answered yes, and I'm right there with you. Sometimes it still happens, we're human. But if you can, when you start this purging process and living with less and with your means, then you will not be doing a lot of retail therapy, and you will not be buying just to be buying. Also, more money means that when you start the minimalism process, that you're going to start making more conscious purchases. So things that are like multi-use, I have an awesome sand cloud. It's one of my favorites. It's a towel, it's a cloud, it's a blanket. It dries really fast so you can get it wet. It shakes off sand. It doesn't hold it on, so that you can like lay it on the beach as your blanket and then get out of the ocean and shower or dry off with it and not have sand all over you. So multi-use is amazing. Also, stop purchasing cheap disposable things. I know we like Walmart because everybody's a penny pincher anymore because things are tight. Okay, I get that. But when we go make a purchase and buy the cheap item, and then that's not good because some little girl has been over somewhere, making that at like 5 years old, but it doesn't last, and so then we throw it away or it breaks, so then you throw it away. So what do you have to turn around and do? You have to go buy another product again. So it's better just to like hold on to that money and make sure it's something that you really want and you're really going to use it, and you make sure that you can get the best that you can get and spend the money there versus having to go make multiple purchases on items. So we need to be savvy. Also, if it comes to clothes and things like that, thrift stores, guys, like, you buy secondhand because it takes a lot of time and money and effort and materials to make clothes or anything really. So if you can get a second use out of it, then you're saving money in your pocket and you're doing the world some good. So, minimalism, like I said, doesn't have to be super extreme, and it has changed my life in so many ways. I had to start fitting into this tiny 17-foot camper. So I moved out of my parents' house. I purged there. I bought my house. And it was really easy to fill up that house. People from everywhere were coming to give me things and for my house, which is awesome, and I appreciate it. But it was things I didn't really necessarily need. And so, over the course of 2 years between having LuLaRoe and the clothing boutique in my basement and just owning a house in general, which is fun. You kind of want to get into decorating and things like that. But my house was so full, I didn't know what to do with, and I was just only one person. So when we decided that we were going to do this camper life trip, like, I had no choice because I didn't have somewhere to store it, to start purging. And it was just incredible. It really helped relieve my anxiety. If you have storage buildings or storage units, like, there's probably a problem there. We don't really need all this stuff. And I'm not, I can tell you my backstory and that much about minimalism. I'm not a huge educator on it because it's still a process. I'm still going through it. Every day that we've been on the road for the last 9 months, it started out I was purging a couple items every week, and we've gotten to where, like, we pretty much have everything we really need. We still have some things that we can let go of, but we're down to the bare basics, and it's awesome. It makes it easy. It makes dishes easier. It makes cooking easier. It makes cleaning easier, where I can come clean for 30 minutes, like, twice a week, maybe an hour one day, and that's it. We just got to keep the floor swept, and that gives me the ability to go out and see life and do adventures or work and not have to come home and worry about the chaos. But anyway, if you need further help on minimalism, then I suggest hollering at Heather Benham. She is on Instagram at Purposely Minimal, and she's absolutely awesome. She was the one, whether she knows it or not, I've talked about it on the last video, but she was the one that's helped guide me through starting my minimalism process and really inspired me. So I know she would be a big help to you all that want to continue this journey. And she's dedicated pretty much her whole life towards living with less. So make sure to check her out if you all want more. Alright, guys, I hope that made sense. Thanks for taking the polls on Instagram. Continue the participation. I love getting the feedback. If you're not already following me on Instagram, make sure you do so you can participate weekly. If you enjoyed this video or felt inspired by it, I'd appreciate giving me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, make sure that you do so that we can continue creating what ails us. Bye, guys.